over me. She's over me. She comes on with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. Thanks you guys for being here with me. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you've had a productive day. It was a beautiful day here. It was literally perfect. It was like 70 degrees. It was sunny and nice and warm. And I'm, running around barefoot, shorts, t-shirt. I'm in my happy place. This is where I love to be. This is perfection. as far as weather is concerned, this is perfection. And that was here today, which was real nice. Hope it was beautiful wherever you were and whatever you were doing. I hope you had a great day doing it. But thank you so much for tuning into the Paranormal Portal. These are our night terrors, which are about 1 hour episodes of ghost encounters, and we do other topics as well, but primarily ghost encounters on the night terrors. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, Don will be with me, and we'll be welcoming Blue Line Bigfoot to the show. Those guys are great, Adam and Jake, great guys. They are they are unique and fun guys, and it should be an exploration into the unexpected, because you just never know what they're going to bring to the table, but it's always a pretty good time. So I'm looking forward to having those gentlemen on the show. Again, that's tomorrow night right here on the Paranormal Portal at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then on this Friday on the Paranormal Portal, we will be welcoming our very own Deborah Varner to the show. She'll be doing psychic readings to callers of the show. So make sure you tune in, because it's going to be one that you won't want to miss. She does a great job, and she's been coming on the show for years now, doing the readings and helping people out. And I honestly can say I've never had anybody go, man, that was a waste of my time. That was terrible. I just really hated getting a reading. I often hear back from people that have had readings and talking about, wow, she was really great. That was amazing. And thanking me for bringing her on the show, and which is awesome, because Deb's doing all the hard work. So that'll be Friday night on the show. So callers to the show on Friday night will have at their disposal a free reading. So if you want a reading, an idea of what the hell's going on in the world, not in the big picture, this is all about you. We don't do readings for the whole global pandemic stuff. That's just too big, and it's too variable and variant. When I was talking to Deb, she's like, those things are really impossible to read, because there's so many parts and pieces to those things. So keep it, if you are calling in the show, keep it to personal readings. We're not trying to read the earth on the portal, just trying to give you a little clue into what's going on in your world, and maybe some helpful advice to help you get through some blocks or issues that you're maybe dealing with. But that'll be Friday night on the show. And then Saturday, there's something different going on. Don and I, it sounds like we'll be on location looking into something. And I'm going to try to bring you guys, a YouTube audience, with us. We won't be able to bring the TFR connection with us, but we'll bring all of you guys there, at least for a while, and we'll hopefully get some footage to release a video of it later. So that'll be coming up on Saturday night. We are just always trying to continue to expand the universe of what the Paranormal Portal is, and so keep staying tuned, keep tuning in and checking out what we're releasing. Always, if you want to know any updates about the shows, check out our our Facebook page, Paranormal Portal Radio, and that's a great place to get updates if you want to still find out what's going on. But the phone lines will be open throughout the show. The phone number to call in is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500 is the number for fun right here on the Paranormal Portal. So call in if you got something paranormal to share. Love to hear from you. If you don't want to call in, that kind of freaks you out, you get a little stressed out about it, then you can always email. I love hearing you guys' stories, and if you want me to share them, that's great. Email us at Paranormal Portal Radio. Again, let me say that again because I felt like I tripped on my own tongue. Paranormal Portal Radio at gmail.com is the email address if you'd like to write in, tell us something. I've been getting some great emails lately, and I just got to wait for a show when we're going to be on where I'll have a chance to share those things. So it won't probably be this weekend if you submitted a story, but it may very well be next weekend. We'll get into that more as the days pass. But thank you to all of you who have submitted stories. And if you want to be a guest on their podcast, please let us know. You can reach out to us by email as well if you've got a bunch of stories you'd like to share and would like to be a guest on our podcast. Love to hear from you. So, and that again is paranormalportalradio at gmail.com. So, all right, guys, that's all I got on the front end. So I hope you're ready because it's time for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're underway here on the Paranormal Portal Night Terrors. Let's get her started. Let's dive right in. Hang on, we're going in. All right, the first story tonight is coming from Oregon, which is right next door to us here. I'm in the north of Idaho, so Oregon is just across the way. And there's always a lot of strange things going on in Oregon, too. It's one of those states we do hear about quite a bit. So let's see what this story is all about. It has to do with family and friends visits. So let's get into it. This story is not really fully about me. It really involves my boyfriend and I, but I will be telling the story. About 5 years ago, this February, my boyfriend's best friend Kevin was murdered at a party. Oh, that's horrible. The story takes place in New York, and Kevin asked my boyfriend if he would like to go to a party that night at a friend's house, but he wasn't feeling that well and decided not to go. Well, Kevin went anyway, and the party started getting big. They started to call it a night, and Kevin was helping his friend get people out of the house, and one boy would not leave without a fight. As Kevin escorted the boy out to the door, the boy had ran him over with his car and dragged him half a block, killing him. Oh, God. My boyfriend believes since he wasn't at the party that it was his fault. His friend died. He knew Kevin wouldn't have gotten into that fight with the boy if he was there because Kevin thought of my boyfriend as a brother. It's almost been 5 years and my boyfriend has not let it go yet. I've tried talking to him and talked to him about Kevin, but he just can't shake the feeling of it being his fault. One night it got bad to the point where I was sick of it, and I started praying out loud in my bed for Kevin to go to my boyfriend and tell him it wasn't his fault. Now remember, I did not tell my boyfriend I did this. The next day I was talking to my boyfriend and he started telling me about this dream that he had had. And he said, I was at work standing outside having a quick smoke when Kevin just walked right up to me. I started freaking out saying, you're supposed to be dead. I didn't think anything of it until he said that. Then Kevin said to me in the most serious way, it wasn't your fault. I was happy and excited and a little freaked out by it all at the same time. My boyfriend thanked me over and over again, and I was glad to finally help. Yeah, those things are tough. When you're carrying luggage like that and those kind of situations, they leave people with feelings of guilt. I mean, an ending like that is so tragic and wasteful and horrible. And, I guess we maybe everybody would think that, God, if I was there, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't have happened. My friend would still be here, but, it's hard to accept those kind of things because there's just so much we don't understand. But it's always my opinion that, sometimes some people just don't have long journeys in this world. And that's kind of the way it was meant to be, and it's hard to understand. It's hard to create understanding or to find understanding in the face of things like this, but it's just a matter of what they leave behind. Maybe that's the gift. That's the reason they're here, and that's the reason they walked here. And what did they leave behind? And that's certainly the case for our own Kevin Lang. It's all about what he left, and he left us all such amazing things, and just incredible. So it's kind of fitting and odd that name would come up right now. And no, I didn't pick this out ahead of time. I just clicked on a bunch of the stories, and that just happened to be one of them. It's all about what do you take with you after that. It's hard not to focus on a tragedy, and there's we've all faced tragedy, and it's hard to look at the big picture when you're surrounded with so much pain and guilt and concern and confusion. But there is time, and time will help process that, hopefully. So yeah, very good story. I think it's wonderful that he came through and did that for his friend, because my God, his friend wasn't the one that was the boyfriend of this girl. He wasn't living his life. He was living in a moment, and he was stuck there, and he couldn't get past it. So it took that amazing intervention for him to finally move past it and to get back to his life. So that's intense, very intense. But when those kind of things happen, of course, they're incredibly healing, very, very healing. This one is coming out of Florida, and it has to do with apparitions, voices, and touches. It says, my name's Josh, and I'm 23 years old, and I recently just moved to Tampa, Florida. I only started considering the possibility that there being another side just last fall when my dad was raving about this show called Taps. Well, I listened, but it was all too much for me to swallow at first. Apparitions and EVPs. What kind of bong water you been swimming in, Pops? But I always had an open mind. That night I went searching all over the net, and with respect to the quantity of fictitious garbage that can be found, I started to accept that not everything can be staged. I got more interested in hard documentation opposed to personal stories. The little Japanese girl in the mirrors is the video clip that pulled me under. I got obsessive for like a week, literally binging on paranormal information, and finally I had satisfied my curiosity, and my imagination cooled down until it took me for a trip to the Twilight Zone a few weeks ago. My girlfriend and I hit a pothole in our relationship, resulting in a terrible argument that sent me storming out on her. I've never done that, save for this one evening. I called some friends, and we met up at the Temple Terrace to indulge in some beers, and we did more talking than drinking, and munched down a massive pizza next door to the bar and drove to the nearest friend's residence. My friends concluded that I should not go home until morning, as to let my head clear up before facing obstacles that the old lady and I would need to overcome. Well, that seemed logical, so I spent the night there in Rich's second-story flat with him, his wife, Nareda, and their 11-year-old Laura. We relaxed and watched a movie together, and then naturally they retired to their rooms in the 2/1. What the hell does that mean? Roughly 2 to 1? I don't know. Roughly 700 square foot apartment. I'll have to double check its name. The apartment is in a complex right beside USF on the corner of 50th Street North and Fletcher. My best guess is that it was built in the 60s. Well, I sprawled out on their big red couch, which faced a wall, with a television to the right and the sliding glass doors to a small balcony on the left. I lay with my head adjacent to the glass doors and was fairly noticeable, as shards of light from the street lamp outside were cutting through the vertical blinds and the gap at the bottom. And this and the digital clock on the DVD player allowed me to see all around until the unlit room with reasonable definition. I could make out furniture, paintings, and decor, the ceiling fan, and all the seams and corners of the room, and I passed out around 12:30, not really feeling the beer from hours earlier, with their blonde Pekingese snuggles keeping my ventral side toasty. I remember getting to sleep with ease considering how stressed out I'd been. At what I later learned to be about 4:45 a.m., my rest was disturbed by Snuggles tearing off and growling. Stupid dog, stupid cat somewhere, whatever, going back to sleep. I turned back toward the back of the couch, unaffected. He let out a high-pitched bark. Why, I counterpoised, opened my left eye, and froze like a popsicle. I couldn't finish rolling over. I have and had never been so rigor mortified in my life. A few moments later, I opened my other eye, confirming that there was indeed a 7 or 8 foot figure towering right over me. Rich and Neri are well under 6 foot, and it was lurched over, staring at me in the face. Between me and the blinds, and it was shrouded, all details concealed in the silhouette. But just as plain as day, I knew it was no dream because I could hear my pulse surging and feel the discomfort growing in. On second thought, I kept one eye open that night and sometimes still do. My half-turned spine, I kind of had to pee. The dog didn't make another peep, and the figure did not budge. Well, after what seemed like hours, but was probably only 20 or 30 seconds, I was struck with a wave of adrenaline and swung a back fist from under the sheets, faster than the fastest fly. It premeditated my action the instant my arm began to move. It streaked across the room without a sound and reconstituted on or against the wall that my feet pointed to. Then it slid slowly along the wall to the right, disappearing into the black hallway. And that's the whole story. I don't know. That's kind of a weird way to end it. Like, well, what does that mean? What happened? Did you talk to the people that live there? Did they ever see anything like that? That's very strange. It's a pretty imposing figure, 7 feet tall. Yeah, that's got to be creepy. I don't know. But it sounds like he was paralyzed for a bit there. He said rigor mortified. That means, I assume, he couldn't move. I don't know if that was from fear or because he was really experiencing a paralysis. But then he did try to take a swing at it, and boom, it was just gone across the room. That's very weird. I don't know. There's a lot of questions on a story like that. I don't have any answers, folks. I just bring them to you. At least not on that one. I don't even have a good suggestion for that one. That's just strange. This next one's coming from New York, and it has to do with family friends visits. This is interesting. So I'm dealing with the spirits of my great-great-grandfather, Charlie, and his girlfriend, Igea, I-G-E-A, or Igea, I don't know. I'm just guessing how to pronounce that, ladies and gentlemen, but who have been at my apartment for nearly 3 months. This is the first encounter that I've had with Grandpa Charlie. Back in November of 2008, I turned on the heat in the bathroom to heat up and take a shower. And in my bathroom, there are 2 lights, the overhead and a light over the medicine cabinet, which you have to screw in and pull out, and screw in and out because the pull string has been broken for at least a year. About 30 minutes later, the bathroom had warmed up enough, and it was about 8:45 p.m. I turned on the overhead light, leaving the broken one off, and got into the shower. I'd been in the shower around 5 minutes, and I'd just begun washing my hair when the broken overhead light turned on. You have to screw it in at least 4 times. Well, I was home alone at the time, and I'd gotten in the shower, and when the light came on, I saw the shape of a person. I couldn't really see because of the shower curtain. Come into the bathroom, walk over to where the toilet paper roll is, and walk right back out of the bathroom. My mom bartends and gets off between 8 and 9:30 p.m. I thought that she might have come home and came into the bathroom to get a piece of toilet paper, but I noticed that it didn't say anything. So I got my towel, wrapped it around me, and walked her into my mom's bedroom, which is right beside the bathroom, but she wasn't in there. I went to the window to see if her car was parked outside, but it really wasn't. I was still home alone. So I kind of brushed it off and got back in the shower, rinsed my hair, and got back out. You have to walk through the kitchen to get to my room at the end of the hallway. if you're coming from the living room or the bathroom. Well, I stopped at the stove to get my soda, which I had left sitting there, and as soon as I passed the stove to go down my hall to my room to dry off, I saw a man walk down the hallway to my room. Well, this scared the hell out of me. I stood there in the kitchen within my towel for a minute or two and realized that I didn't hear anybody because I thought that someone had gotten in. I got in my soda and went into my room, shut the door, put on my pajamas, and sat down at the computer desk and thought to myself, what the hell was that? After a good 5 minutes of thinking, and I don't know why, but I got out of my box of old family genealogy, records and pictures out from under my bed and started looking through the pictures. I came upon a picture of my great-great-grandfather Charlie. The picture was taken in 1936. In the picture, he was 39 years old. Well, I got ready to sit down on the pile of pictures. Down in the pile of pictures I had just looked at when suddenly I felt my heart dropped. I looked at the picture and thought, oh my God, because I just realized the man who I had seen walk down the hallway, was Grandpa Charlie. So at this point, I'm kind of shaky, and the encounter doesn't still want to register in my mind. While I was sitting on my bed looking at the old black and white picture, I heard a man in the hallway just outside my door whistling. The whistling lasted around 40 seconds, and then I smelt the strongest tobacco smoke, just as if there were someone smoking a cigar right beside you. The smell of the smoke faded just as it would with a cigar or cigarette, and about 30 minutes after the smell of smoke faded, my mom came back home from work. I didn't mention anything to her that night, and we both went to bed at around midnight, and while I was lying there trying to fall asleep, the only thing I could think about was who I had just seen. One question that I couldn't resolve was, when I saw him, why did he look just like he did in that picture when he was 39? But he was 64 when he died in 1962. This was just the first time I'd seen him. I've had many more daily encounters with him ever since that night, and have become very used to him being around, and me and my mom, treat him as if he's part of the family. Now when I see him, he's been older looking, younger, middle-aged, etc. I'll share some more of my encounters at another time. Thanks for letting me share my story. It's not every day you just get to sit and talk about your resident ghost. You know, that's a similar experience that I had was after my grandmother passed. Now, my family's never been real big on pictures. We're just not a photo family. You know, some people whip out the cameras every chance they get. In my family, we never had cameras. There's so many things that were never captured on film, but they're in our memories, I hope, at least in mine. But we never had pictures around. We didn't have pictures hanging on the walls. It was just, there was some decoration on the walls and stuff, but we just weren't a photo family. And when my grandmother died, she and I were very close, and she was lived right across the street from where I grew up in my parents' house. And it was really hard when she passed because she had been such a part of all of our lives, just being right across the street. I saw Grandma daily. I mean, that was just the place I went to hang out. I just had a lot of fun hanging out with Grandma. And when she passed, it was tough. It was hard. And her passing was very long and drawn out because she had dementia. And it's one of those things where I truly think the spirit left the body long before her body decided to quit. But, it was hard. But it was really neat because I had gone to sleep one night after she had passed. And suddenly I was sitting in her living room in the chair I always sat in to watch TV. And there's a footstool. And she was sitting there on the footstool looking at me. And as I looked at her, she started to change. She looked as I remembered her. And then as I stared at her, she changed and became younger and younger and younger. So her gray, well, she kind of did her hair in that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not, but some older ladies do like a purple color to their hair. And I'm not sure why, but they did. And so my grandmother always had purple hair. She was doing purple hair before it was cool, just for the record. But her hair changed from that purpley white color back to brown, and then it became these long locks, and she became young, vibrant, and just beautiful. And I was just stunned because I'd never seen my grandmother like this. I had only seen a few pictures of my grandmother, and they were all when she had the purple hair cooking. So I mean, I just didn't know what she looked like, and so I didn't know. Even after that, I woke up. Well, she said, just wanted you to know, and you can tell everybody I'm doing wonderful. I'm fine. Everything is great. And then she said, you can tell your uncle, but he's not going to believe you anyway. Because my uncle's a very skeptical person. He's just very logical, and, that's just the way he is. And it was funny, and it was a quick encounter, not a real long one, but it was a beautiful moment. Now, it wasn't until we were going through her estate that we came across these pictures. And as I said before, I had never seen a young version of my grandmother ever. There just weren't pictures around, and the only ones I had ever seen of her, she already had the purple hair cook. And so we came across the pictures of when she and my grandfather were together, and they were younger, and that was her. There was the long black locks of hair, and it was her. It was the woman that I sat with in my dream. And I was so floored by that because it was so imprinted in my mind from the dream, and then to see an actual photo of her when she was younger, and it was the same. And I thought that was so amazing. And it really drove it home for me that it was a real experience, that it wasn't just a fabrication of my mind, because I had no point of reference to what a younger version of my grandmother looked like. So it was a very cool thing. And, I really believe that she came to see me. In fact, any kind of encounter I've had with people that I loved who are deceased has been through dreams for some reason, which is weird because normally I don't remember my dreams. I really very, very rarely remember anything, even sometimes just at the most a little fragment or a moment. But when those dreams have happened, like with my father, which I've shared on the show before, or my grandmother, they were always incredibly profound and incredibly vibrant and incredibly powerful and really neat. Now, I can't say I've ever seen her again. It was just that one time. But it was a beautiful moment, and I was absolutely just stunned, just a cool thing. So I can understand that. So this woman was seeing her great-grandfather in a young state. Now, I do think ghosts can appear however they want. I don't think that they have to appear as they did in the last moments of their life. I think they can most often will appear at their best, when they're not stuck in that death state. I think some psychologically are still in their death state, and that keeps them kind of pinned to that visual manifestation. But I think if they've crossed and passed on, they probably just pick how they want to look, and that's how they show us. But just my thoughts, whatever that's worth. Let's go to the next story, and this one is coming from Maine, ladies and gentlemen. And this, sleep paralysis. Again, I'm not anti-sleep paralysis or anything like that, but I've just read thousands of sleep paralysis stories, and those to me are kind of the same experience over and over, but this one's pretty short, so let's read it. It says, I come from a very religious family, and that doesn't disregard the existence of ghosts, demons, or angels. I really don't scare easily, and I've seen and heard tons of strange things for as long as I can remember. Now, I have to say, what happened to me the other night really scared the hell out of me. I rarely remember my dreams. I just said that. That's so weird how that happens. But the one I was having was deeply troubling. Basically, I had a dream that I was with my current boyfriend, and somewhere along the line, he turned into my ex, whom I have a pending restraining order against. Oh, that's horrible. Well, I woke myself up somehow, and after my eyes adjusted to the bedroom, I tried to sit up and realized I couldn't move a muscle. I was awake, I swear. I've never had an auditory hallucination in my entire life, but I heard a voice right next to me. It was neither male nor female. It said, "A strong, God-fearing woman like you has no need to fear demons." I tried to lift my head up and see what the hell was in my room, but I couldn't do anything. As pathetic as it sounds, I tried to call for my mom. and I couldn't speak. I even tried to lift my leg up and kick my lamp over so I'd wake someone up in the house. The sick feeling of dread came over me, and I felt like someone or something was standing on my chest. I could hardly breathe. After a few moments, I came out of it, and I tried to move around and snacked on some Oreos to get my mind off of it. When I tried to fall back asleep, I would hear this loud buzzing noise that just made it impossible. I understand what happened that night could be easily dismissed as sleep paralysis, but something was very wrong, and I can't put my finger on it. But I believe I may have an attachment with some entity because of this previous experiences that I've had, which I will post later. Yeah, that's horrible. It's just horrible. God, ugh. And again, I think there are medical types of sleep paralysis. I think that there are just people that have trouble with that transition from sleeping to wake, and somehow their body gets confused in that or whatever, and they end up locked in that medical like paralysis. But I think that there's another kind that does the same thing. And I think that is done by some kind of intelligence. Usually, obviously, a horrible intelligence in most cases. There's been a couple of times we've read stories of sleep paralysis where it really wasn't as nefarious, but the person couldn't move, but it's probably a good thing because the way they were freaking out, they would have probably hurt themselves. And they didn't end horribly. But, these kind of things, they're just dark and horrible and disturbing. But, it's hard to get a lot of, outside of the paranormal communities, it's hard to get a lot of understanding about those possibly being a real thing. But I think they are. I think that there are these intelligences, these entities that do this kind of thing, just in order to screw with people or to feed off of their fear or whatever it is. But it's plenty bad. All right, we're going to California. This one's a short one. It has to do with apparitions, voices, and some touching, apparently. It says, I work as a clairvoyant healer and counselor as well as a medium. However, that doesn't mean that I have a lot of ghost experiences, although I have some. I see this as a ghost story, not a medium or psychic story, because I wasn't working at the time and was as scared as anyone else might be. I think that some spirits may see me as a source of healing at times, and that's how this event came about. I was deep asleep in my bedroom when my eyes popped open, and I was instantly awake. I realized why as soon as I saw this apparition in my darkened bedroom. I was way up towards the ceiling, and I felt it was aware of me. It looked like white tissue paper, but it had an ethereal quality to it, like it was dripping. It was floating in a big circle that spiraled smaller and smaller, like a whirlpool with me as its center. I knew it was seeking something and coming at me. So I jumped up, turned on the light, and yelled at it to get out of there. I was too upset and scared to ask why it was there because I was the focus of this appearance. I got online looking for a friend who's often a co-adventurer with me in the realm of spiritual experiences, and she quickly saw it was a woman seeking her husband and thought I might know how to find him. Well, we both guided her to spirits so she could be freed of this earthly search. I couldn't help but think that is where the idea of the white sheet came from for ghosts, because although it was tissue-like, it also looked like a hanging white sheet. It's not come back since, and now we giggle about it. That's weird. That's really weird. I don't know. That's the whole unfinished business thing, right? We hear about those unfinished business, and I don't know. Maybe for spirits they don't really have a concept of time. They probably don't. They're just in this confused state because they hadn't crossed over. I think that they're stuck, and they're stuck with somewhat whatever thinking is going on at that time, but they don't seem to be aware that decades or more have passed, and that whatever they were looking for is long gone as well. I had a family member who was tormented, absolutely tormented. Had some of the most profound paranormal experiences I've ever heard of, whether that's TV or movies or anything. And these things really happened. And I had to go through it with him in a sense. And it was tough. I mean, it was rough. He's one of the strongest people I know, and he was reduced to just trembling. And it went on for months. It went on for months. And they reached out to some sensitives as well. And one of the sensitives who was very, very well known, and I'm not going to drop names or anything, but she said that where their house was, they built a new log house. Where it was used to be the site of an old farmstead. And a woman had lost her baby in a fire. And for some reason, according to the psychic, this woman's spirit was still looking for her daughter, her baby daughter. And for some reason locked onto my cousin as knowing what the hell was going on. And, obviously he didn't, but he, his wife, his children all experienced crazy things flying around, mists filling up whole rooms that like a fog you could barely see, furniture moving, things smashing on the side of the house, just horrible, horrible activity. And he was just reduced. And this is a strong man. He was reduced to just a trembling mess. That's all I can tell you. And he got through it, thank God. But it's just one of those things. Like, man, what if that is the case? If that's really the case, that this spirit believed that and was so enraged that it continually attacked him and went after his family, went after everybody, went after his animals. It was just horrible. Those are tough cases. Those are incredibly tough cases because it's not a lot different than trying to deal with someone who's schizophrenic. You'd think you could just say, no, come on, that's not real. Just think, look around you. And you could appeal to the reason. But in these cases, there's such a psychosis built on sadness, tragedy, rage, anger, helplessness, and all these things that have been tormenting this soul for years. And it's a broken psychology. You can't reason with a broken psychology. But they were able to get it purged eventually. But it was a horrible, horrible situation. And so this one very much reminded me of it, because here comes this random apparition, and it thinks for some reason this woman laying in bed knows what happened to their husband. And, why? How? So it's a crazy, crazy kind of situation. And it's actually heartbreaking because these are tormented spirits. And they're not trying to be evil, but it comes across to us as very evil. And I'm not saying that there aren't evil spirits. There are, but there's also these kind that are just broken. They don't understand. They don't understand what's not right. But they're looking and they're grabbing onto something, and it becomes an obsession, and it becomes torment for not only that spirit, but the people living around it. So it's just really, really tough. It took a lot of work to get rid of that. A lot of work, a long, long time. And I didn't know. I didn't know if it was, I don't know. I didn't know how we were going to get through it, how he was going to get through it. But it was tough. It was a tough situation. Let's continue on. Next story is coming from Wisconsin. Land of cheese and the Packers, ladies and gentlemen. I used to live in Minnesota, and I looked at Wisconsin every day. It was across the river. We always had that rivalry, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Packers, the Cheeseheads. It was always the Midwest rivalry, Minnesota and Wisconsin. So I think Wisconsin is wonderful. I'm just kidding, but it really was. It was part of growing up. That whole, when the people from Wisconsin came over to our town when we were in high school, we're like, hey, what are they doing in our town? It was silly. All right. Let's continue on. So Wisconsin, it has to do with haunted places. This is kind of a long one. This may very well be the the rest of the show, but we'll see how long it takes me to get through it. So this house is a nice ranch-style house on a quiet little street in a residential neighborhood. The moment we moved into this house, it had a way of just speaking to us. The first weekend, my mom spent the weekend alone in the house. She slept on the living room floor as we didn't have any furniture yet, and she says a clicking in the wall kept her awake. She didn't figure out what it was, but a ticking in the living room wall? Well, she started moving boxes and stuff in that weekend. She was putting away my brother's clothes in the dresser drawer, and behind her, she heard a violent rattle. She slowly turned around to see his closet door shaking violently all by itself. Oof. It was summer and we were new to the neighborhood. My brother and I had scoped out the entire house and all its nooks and crannies, and we came to realize that the house not only had a mind of its own, but a bizarre one at that. My first instinct of the basement was that it stunk. It reeked. I had no idea what, but it was just putrid. I hated that basement. There was a room in the back underneath my bedroom that just gave me the creeps. We found a boarded off shower in the bathroom in the closet, in the basement rather. Curious kittens we were, we pried it apart and we found no dead bodies, just a lot of living spiders. But while we investigated, we heard noises upstairs like there was people talking and walking around. Intruders. We fled up the stairs to catch the culprits, but nobody was there. That's odd. I guess they escaped. So we were investigating other crannies, in particular his closet. Mom never told us about her incident, so we had no idea what had happened to her until after we finally moved out. His closet was a creep hole. A creep hole. It was deep and square with shelving on both sides, and it was really dark in there. Just plain eerie. We were looking for toys when all of a sudden we both just felt eerie. We darted out of that closet as fast as we could, neither of us saying why we left so suddenly. Once in the living room, we both mentioned the creepy closet had its own agenda. There was something in there, just not human nor visible to the human eye. Then we heard the voices downstairs. And thinking these intruders came back in the house and crept downstairs, we grabbed our toy weapons and proceeded downstairs. We called out, "Hello? Who's there?" Once we hit the bottom step, it was silence. We ran all over that basement and absolutely found nothing. And that's when the voices were upstairs again. We checked both floors a couple of times, but the last time we went downstairs, we became frozen and didn't want to venture back upstairs and discover the unearthly culprits. We hid behind the basement bar until our mom got home. We waited for the first sign of her presence and then ran up and greeted her with our tale of horror. She looked at us a little funny and then mentioned that she believed us, and we better keep the doors and windows locked so no one could kidnap us. I reminded her that it's hard for a ghost to rob someone. At least we thought it was funny at the time. Mom's noticing the back door is open every morning before she leaves for work. She questions us and asks us why we keep opening the door at night, but neither of us have. Yet something like to open that door next to my bedroom across from the basement. Maybe a ghost is going to work earlier than her? Or maybe the ghost is coming home drunk after a long night of wandering the streets? Who knows? The things that were already telling us it was there. The strange cars would park across the street and just stare at our house. Now we felt like refugees hiding from kidnappers, and here we are peering out the windows wondering why strangers were staring at our home. We were hiding there like someone was going to get us, but perhaps what was to get us was already inside. Strange things kept persisting in that house. At supper time, a raunchy smell would envelop the kitchen and then linger around for a few moments before leaving just as it came. We didn't ever see any ghosts, but we sure smelled them. Then objects would start doing their own things. My play phone went off by itself in the bedroom one afternoon while we made dinner. It's like a cell phone, and the keys have to be punched in to work, so something took a liking to that toy and really started playing with it. I went into my room to find it in a corner, untouched, but definitely playing. I took the thing apart, and as soon as I left the room, it still played. So needless to say, the thing found the garbage. Our doorbell started ringing on its own accord after the playphone got dumped. It was usually the back door. We'd be in the living room watching television, and then the back doorbell would ring. The two doors had different rings, and the front door had two dings like ding ding dong. You could tell it was the door. But the back door had one ring like ding. And if someone wanted to get your attention, it'd go ding 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 ding. Really annoying. Well, that door was annoying when it rang by itself, but at first we thought it was the neighbors running up to the house and just running away as fast as they could. It wouldn't be that hard to hide instantly if that were the case, so we had a weird house with weird people around. Nothing unusual, right? Well, fall set in and things started to change again in the house. On the corner, the heaters turned on, which were run by a water heater in the basement, and the thing fired up and made gurgling noises, so you knew when it'd start blowing some heat. It never blew out heat like electric heaters do, but when the heat was on, the vents would gurgle and pour out its heat. The heaters went as far as making rattling sounds that we thought were defective, so the landlord was called and found nothing wrong with them, just stating they're old and such. The heaters were took apart, but the dumb thing still rattled, and I was isolated on my side of the house, so my mom and my brother got their share of that side of the house, and I had my own on my end. One night I heard a girl's voice in my closet. I have no idea what the heck she said, but she made it clear she was hanging around in my room. But that was the start of another aura. I don't know what aura means there, but my brother started having nightmares or something. He claimed he couldn't sleep in his room. Something was keeping him awake in there. Yes, and the voices in my room are keeping me up too. Things were not looking that pretty for the trio on the corner. And then came the burning sensation smell. It was like everywhere in the house, and I kept telling them that something was burning somewhere in the house. It smelled like burnt rubber, and it would not leave. So we checked the house everywhere, and nothing could contribute to the source. As the weather got even colder outside, and the demeanor of the family changed too. Some nights the house would talk. On these particular nights, it'd take turns on us. Other oddities were things missing that would turn up in mysterious places, the nonstop doorbell that we discovered wasn't a prankster because in the middle of the winter, we would have seen footprints in the snow in which there wasn't any. And we knew our house was haunted but failed to recognize just how badly. In early spring, the house was set to burn down by a mischievous prankster. At the same instance, my mother saw a black hooded figure grimace at her on the corner before she entered the house and discovered the disaster. Luckily, not much was damaged. That was the first year, and it's just getting started. There's more, and it only goes deeper. Yikes. That's pretty terrible. So what is it? Do houses have an energy themselves? Yeah, I believe they do. Can that energy have an intelligence to it? Maybe. It's hard to understand. I don't know. Could a house become sentient? I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, maybe. Maybe it could. Maybe it's possible. I don't know. And what does that mean? Well, I think everything has an energy, and maybe by having an energy, it has an intelligence, and that's hard to understand in our normal, in our normal view of the world. It's like, but I find myself talking to everything. I talk to my computer all the time. I talk to things when they're breaking. I'm like, I talk to my car all the time. Like, come on, you can do it. You can do it. I think a lot of us talk to our cars, and we talk to things and we give them a persona. We end up finding a personality in our things. So could that personality continue to develop and become sentient to a degree? Maybe. I've heard, Amy Allen on the Dead Files would sometimes find houses like that. And she'd tell the people, there's nothing you can do. This house needs to be burned to the ground. It's angry. It's just angry. It doesn't like anybody in it. And I find that very interesting and disturbing. So everything has a spirit. But can every spirit be healed? I don't know. I'd like to think it could be. But, do we have the time and energy to do those things? I don't know. Depends on the person, I guess. I like to think that love can heal everything, right? Because that's a beautiful thought. That means no matter how ugly or dark things get, if you can give it enough love, maybe it can be okay. But then again, some people can never be healed, even with all the love in the world. They just got holes in them. And nothing can fill those holes. But I don't know. I guess it's a conundrum. And I don't have the answers, unfortunately. I really don't. I wish I did. I wish I knew the answers to all these questions, but that's kind of why I'm on this journey. That's why I'm doing the show. That's why I talk to you guys about these things, because it's a journey of discovery. And I got to say, I've really enjoyed people giving me their 2 cents as well. Oftentimes during the show, I'll tell you what I think. That's part of my role, I think, as interpreter of the Paranormal Portal, if you will. But I love when you guys tell me yours. When you guys tell me, this is what I think. And I get these comments on YouTube, and they're so profound. They're incredibly profound. And you guys often will add pieces and parts to the puzzle, and it's just great. I think that's part of the journey that we're on together as we go through this, And I think that's cool. It's really great to hear from you guys, and it's really great to hear what you're thinking. And a lot of you guys have taught me many things just in reading your comments. So keep them coming. I love getting them. I love hearing what you guys think. I may not always agree with it, and if I don't, I'll tell you, and I'll always be respectful. I don't like to tear people down, ever. The only time I ever respond in kind is when I get real crappy, remarks and people just being hurtful. It's like, okay, all right, now the game is on. The game is afoot, because, if somebody comes in being a jerk, well, I'm going to show them what time it is, I guess. But, and I'm not trying to be macho here. I'm really not. I wish everybody was respectful and were able to take part in the conversations, constructively. But some people feel the need to come in and just, be an absolute dick. And, well, you got to mow the lawn every once in a while. So anyway, I guess those are my thoughts on that. But that's going to about wrap it up for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please keep your comments coming. I love hearing them. Please make sure you're subscribed. And remember my birthday wish. My birthday wish from this year is that everybody will share some of these shows and help spread the word about the Paranormal Portal. So it'd be the greatest gift ever. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, that'd be really cool. I hope you guys are doing well. Remember, tomorrow night, Blue Line Bigfoot will be here with Don and I, and we're going to dive into the Paranormal Portal together and find out just what the hell we can get into in 2 hours. So I hope you guys will tune in and join us for that. They're great guys. I got a call. I think some people wait till right at the tail end of the show to call. I'm starting to suspect a conspiracy here. All right, let's see who's on the horn. And I think I know, but hello, area code 701. You're on the air.
Oh, happy birth recognition phase of the cycle to you. Happy birth recognition cycle date for you. A couple days late if we go by the date, but I'm just going by the phase of the cycle. La 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 la.
That was beautiful. That was lovely. Thank you. Naysay, how you doing, brother?
I am fantastic. How are you doing, sir?
Good, thank you. I'm doing good. Just enjoying the weather, enjoying the days, and enjoying doing the shows, as always.
Right. May I digress and share a little bit about this crazy date of mine of the calendar?
Okay, yeah.
because I think I've shared with you and with the world about my craziness and the experiences that I have of the metaphysical and the abnormal.
Uh huh.
But today, being May 5th, is the 20th year anniversary of when I was ran over by a garbage truck.
Oh Jesus. Oh, okay. Wow. I didn't.
And
I don't think
and
I
to,
remembered that.
oh, well, yeah, when I did that ride across the state of Minnesota for Gulf War illness,
Yep. Yep.
and yeah, actually, well, I should share more with that because that was a really metaphysical ride. That the not normal occurred during that whole ride, but I won't get into it tonight because of the lateness of the hour. But thank you for letting me digress a little bit, because today what I did is a friend of mine brought me to the Veterans Bridge between Minnesota and North Dakota, and I announced today that I am going to be doing another ride across the state of Minnesota.
Oh wow.
And I wanted to share it with you
Uh huh.
and the family of the chat room
Okay.
of what I'm doing. And I was asking permission of the chat room if I could share the video that I did a live stream with. And so I thought I would call in and ask you if it would be okay if I shared it with the chat room, because I don't ever want to like step on your toes at all, as I am doing it with this phone call.
No, that's fine.
I'm sorry, forgive me.
What do you mean? Video? What are you talking about? Like send me a video and I'll play it on the show?
No, I was just gonna share the URL with
Oh.
the chat room of the live video we did at the bridge.
Oh, absolutely. Please go ahead. That's fine.
Okay. Well, I just wanted your permission, sir, because you're the boss, man. You're the boss.
I appreciate that recognition, but no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad. Happy to help spread the word. Just go ahead. Do you know it offhand, or are you just going to paste it in there?
I was gonna paste it on there.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You of course you have my blessings for sure.
Right. So in June, around the summer solstice, from that moment on until the calendar date of the summer solstice, which is a eclipse of the moon or an eclipse of the sun by the moon, and it also is my birth recognition date of the 22nd of June. So it's a auspicious time and a moment of the cycle. So thank you all for being here with me as we enjoy this crazy chaos and order and everything in between. I love you all, and I love you, my dear friend Brent, and thank you for going around the sun with us again. Please do it many, many, many more times.
I'll try, brother. I'm hanging on for dear life. Bump. Thank you very much. All right. Love you too, brother.
All right, sir. Well, you have a beautiful evening. Get restful sleep, and find a giggle, 2 or 3, and then share as many as you can.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Toodles.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our good friend Nace. But as I was saying, I think that'll wrap it up for this episode of the Paranormal Portal. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've enjoyed bringing you through the portal, and I love you all. So I hope you have a pleasant day tomorrow, and I'll be here waiting for you with Don and the Blue Line Bigfoot Boys. So hope you guys will tune in 7 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow night on YouTube. 7 p.m. Pacific time, 7 days a week. There's a live portal going on, so spread the word. All right, so that's it. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, and sweet dreams, eh?